Alright lads, for the first time in 4 years, Naoya Inoue stepped onto US soil and reminded everyone why he's called the Monster. After years of critics yelling that he had to prove himself stateside, he answered the call against a legitimate top 10 opponent in Raymond Cardenas. It was Cinco de Mayo weekend, a perfect storm for boxing. Yet, the rest of the card was flat, uneventful, forgettable. And that put the pressure squarely on Inoue's shoulders. The man had to carry an entire boxing weekend, and he delivered. But let's not pretend it was smooth sailing. Inoue gave us a fantastic fight, but also showed he's human. He danced, a little too close to the flames and got caught. And now, we need to break it all down. The highs, the lows, the knockdown, and what comes next for one of boxing's most dangerous champions. But before we jump deep into this, I'm Closter, and this channel is your go-to for all things boxing. Hit that subscribe button and I'll keep you ahead of the curve on every big fight, upset and storyline. So let's get into it. For years, Inoue's been blasted for ducking the States, which, frankly, is ridiculous. This man is a two-weight, undisputed world champion. He's been fighting killers and dominating. But because he wasn't doing it under the Vegas lights, people doubted. The truth is, Inoue didn't need America. He had packed stadiums in Japan, mega sponsorship deals, and national stardom. But under pressure from Top Rank and with an eye on global superstardom, he gave in and returned. Originally, the opponent was supposed to be Alan Picasso. That fell through, and in stepped another top 10 Mexican, Raymond Cardenas. Why Cardenas? Well, it's simple. Cinco de Mayo weekend. The Mexican fan base shows up, they bring the energy. So even if the broader US fan base was lukewarm, the promoters banked on passionate Mexican support. And they weren't wrong. Now, being on the road isn't new for Inoue, but this was a rare appearance outside of Japan in recent years. And let's be honest, some people weren't sold on the matchup. It felt like a formality, a tune-up before the real challenge, Akhmadaliev in September. And that's the problem. The narrative heading into fight week wasn't about Cardenas. It was about what's next. Inoue got asked more about the future than his current opponent, and in boxing, that's a dangerous trap. Look at Ryan Garcia this weekend. Too focused on Haney, overlooked Rolando Romero, and got embarrassed. Same story with Wilder when he overlooked Parker. In boxing, you don't look past anyone. And Cardenas? He wasn't there to roll over. He wasn't just a name. Fueled by the memory of his late trainer, he came to win. From the opening bell, Inoue looked sharp. Quick feet, snapping jabs, the usual read and react brilliance. But Cardenas was throwing with intent. And in round 2, he landed a bomb, a looping left hook that dropped Inoue. The crowd gasped. And, for a second, it looked like the impossible might be unfolding. But here's what makes Inoue elite. He adapted instantly. He realized what caught him, adjusted his positioning, and from that point on, Cardenas never landed that same shot again. That's what separates a champion from a contender, mid-fight adjustments. He weathered the storm in the third and took over from there. By round 7, Inoue was punishing Cardenas. The knockdown came, the pressure mounted, and in round 8, after another relentless barrage, the referee stepped in. Some might argue the stoppage came early, but let's be honest, it was only going one way. So yes, Inoue got dropped, but he also showed what greatness looks like. He stood back up, stayed in the pocket, and dominated. Compare that to fighters, who wilt at adversity. Inoue stayed composed, calculated, and cruel. That's championship grit. And credit to Cardenas. He made a name for himself on a massive stage. He'll be back, and I'd love to see him in a war against someone like Luis Neri. That would be fireworks, but for Inoue, the road ahead is even more intriguing. He's one of boxing's most active champions. He doesn't duck, he doesn't delay, and he just signed on as an ambassador for Riyadh season, which means the Saudi fight machine is eyeing him too. Next up is Akhmadaliev in September, a fight that should have happened earlier, but delays, politics and injuries got in. The way Inoue never ducked. Akhmadaliev just didn't make it through Tapales. And as for Eddie Hearn crying about Inoue being stripped, win something first before complaining. Now, let's talk Sam Goodman. The Aussie barged into the ring in Tokyo, called out Inoue, then backed out claiming he needed a tune-up. When the Goodman fight finally got made, he pulled out due to a cut, and that's how Inoue ended up fighting Pacquiweather. None of that's on Inoue. He wanted the smoke. Goodman ran. Looking ahead, after Akhmadaliev, we're hearing whispers of another Saudi date in December. Maybe under Bivol vs Beterbiev 3, and the name floating around could be Goodman if he stops ducking, or even Nakatani. That's the dream fight. Two Japanese pound-for-pound monsters going toe-to-toe. But here's a wild card. Rafael Espinoza. The guy stole the show on the same card. He's 6'1", fights at featherweight, has a nasty uppercut and a fearless style. If Inoue moves up, this might be the fight to make. It's a risk, but a reward too. More likely though, Inoue might want to dip into the division slowly, maybe a rematch with Stephen Fulton as a stepping stone. But that's all speculation. What isn't speculation is this. Naoya Inoue just saved a dull fight weekend. He got knocked down but got up and delivered. He showed why he's a generational talent. Now it's your turn. What did you think of the fight? Were you shocked by the knockdown? And who should Inoue fight next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. This has been Kloster, and I'll see you next time with more boxing breakdowns, fight previews, and real talk.